Well, it's time for another video, and today we're going to look at Tempest X3 for Sony PlayStation. Or is it just Tempest X? See, I get confused with this game because on the box it's called Tempest X3, but on the actual game itself it's just Tempest X. So, which is it, game? Is it X or is it X3? Mind you, you could have just called it Tempest 2000, since this is, for all intents and purposes, a tweaked version of the same game that graced the Atari Jaguar system a couple years prior. In any event, Tempest X3 is an updated version of Tempest 2000, which entails some differences from the earlier game. However, since I've never touched an Atari Jaguar system in my entire life, and as such I've never played Tempest 2000, I couldn't possibly tell you what the differences were, and really, what does it matter? All of these subsequent Tempest updates, whether it be 2000, X3, 3000, 4000, 5000, 10,000, 10K, whatever, it pretty much takes the old Tempest gameplay of the original arcade game and ramps it up with power-ups, techno beats, lots of loud noises, and distracting text pop-ups to go along with the super acid trips that the game provides. Once you've picked your starting level, you'll move your claw ship thing around the edge of the tube, and you're tasked with killing all the critters before they can grab you or shoot you or kill you or whatever. Sometimes you'll be able to acquire power-ups such as particle lasers for added firepower, a Nito jumping ability for numerous escape options, AI droids for timely assistance, and some other bits of tat. And if you're in a bit of a jam, you could clear the board of baddies with your once per level super sapper weapon of mass devastation. Now, if you don't care for the updated crap, then there's the more traditional Tempest format which replicates the visuals and sounds of the arcade original, but still remains within that Tempest X1000 presentation with the transitions and music and stuff. There's also a Tempest Duel mode, or whatever it's called, where you and another player can try and blow each other up while blowing up other critters that might pass by. As an additional bonus, if you do really well and input a weird name on the high score list, you'll be able to unlock Tempest 2000 and Tempest Plus modes, which I guess needed to be hidden away because if those were openly available in-game, there would be no PlayStation brand today. But I digress. Tempest X3 came out before DualShock controllers were a thing on the PS1, and so you're basically stuck with a D-pad as your main means of motion. Honestly, any control input that isn't a knob-like paddle controller, or even a computer mouse for computer-based iterations is ill-suited for a game of this sort. A D-pad or even an analog stick on a gamepad will never be an appropriate substitute, as it lacks that level of precision that a knob or mouse provides. With this in mind, controlling Tempest X3 is somewhat tolerable, functions well enough, and you even have the ability to customize the button mapping for your various abilities, though the trigger buttons are unused in this game, nor can they be used via button configuration. So the big gimmick with these Tempest X1000 games is that they take the original vector-based visuals of the original Tempest arcade game from '81, and they enhance them with all sorts of trippy visual effects, whether it be shaded polygons and objects, trippy backgrounds, lots of pop-up text, or flashy colors. Calling this game an acid trip is a bit of an understatement, and it's almost understandable why anyone would consider this the best game on a failed system. But regardless of how you feel about the overall presentation, at least it looks somewhat clean and the gameplay maintains a nice pace with little to no slowdown on my playthroughs at least, and also no loading times to speak of, which is greatly appreciated. What's more appreciated is the option to switch camera perspectives with the select button, because some of the tubes, or lack thereof, tend to be difficult to gauge the action properly. Sound design is also pretty solid, lots of catchy tunes to greet you, lots of loud sound effects, and a sensual voiceover to recharge your zapper. I'm guessing that's part of the acid trip this game provides. When you play the various Tempest modes you get updated sound effects, but playing traditional Tempest gives you old school sounds to go along with the old school graphics, which is a nice touch. Overall, Tempest X3 is a nice update to classic Tempest that's fast-paced, plays well despite its limited control setup, and for anyone who just wants a nice solid arcade port that's a thrill to play, you really can't go wrong with this one. Whether this is an improvement over Tempest 2000 or not is not something I can honestly tell you, but I can say I've enjoyed my time with this one. It's a fun game to play, and it's actually made me curious about the new one they put out recently. So yeah, Tempest X3 on PlayStation. Fun game. Wild ride. I'm going to bed. Good night.